it was a very illuminating experience sitting on the board and understanding, where things were with the public broadcaster. And that kind of started this journey, which was lead us to this topic of today's conversation, which is direct to mobile. Uh, so when of course, I mean, the discussion around this was happening even when I was the part-time member. But when I became the CEO, it became more serious. One of the issues that we were all grappling with uh, was, this whole issue of analog terrestrial broadcast. I don't know how old you are, so I will not embarrass you. But when we were growing up, Doordarshan was still on the rooftop antenna system, and when we started, you would get TV broadcast for a few hours, one black and white channel. Then it became color. Then it became two black and white channels, or two color channels, and then of course the number of hours expanded and so on. So that rooftop antenna TV system of Doordarshan requires what are called TV towers or TV transmitters. And you would, if in Delhi, there's one tall tower in Pitampura. In most of the Indian cities, you would see this, huge tall tower in some prominent location in the city where the TV tower would be based, and that's where the TV transmission would happen.
Is there only one in each city or there are multiple?
In one city, usually one high tower over the entire city. Of course, but that would just be limited to the surrounding area of that city. So in fact, when we were growing up, I recall very distinctly during the Indira Gandhi and then especially the Rajiv Gandhi period, that Doordarshan went through a massive expansion where they would set up these smaller TV towers, low power transmitters in practically every corner of India. So every day when you watch news on Doordarshan those days, it would be about the Prime Minister going to some remote part and then inaugurating a TV transmitter. Right? And then there was, so by the time I became CEO, the scenario in Indian media had dramatically changed, right? In the 1990s, you had the advent of cable TV. By the 2000s, you had this explosion of satellite TV channels. Doordarshan, which enjoyed a monopoly for decades, was now facing competition for the first time, and it gradually lost its audiences. Still, Doordarshan maintained a certain monopoly because of cricket, that the Indian cricket matches would only be available on TV. That, I think, changed sometime around 2007 or 2008 when the BCCI, because earlier BCCI would pay Doordarshan to air the cricket match.
Okay.
Because there was a certain airtime value that Doordarshan would determine. So this the whole economics was reversed when BCCI said, "Why the hell are we paying TD? Let's just get the private channels to bid for this."
So is that how the auction started?
Rate of the rights. Okay, so the whole economics just flipped on its head, and that is where DD missed out because they thought in the monopoly era they could just demand and and get value for the buy. Right, the moment this started happening, cricket went out of Doordarshan, and that is when in I think 2007 2008 the government had passed a law for what is called mandatory sharing of sports rights. Where because there was a huge uproar that you're not going to be able to watch cricket on PD Sports, so they said no, you have to share the signal with the public broadcaster for certain matches. That matter went into the Supreme Court, and finally, in fact, the final verdict on that came when I became the CEO.
Okay.